All right, guys, I think I did it. We're a little early. I'm like 2 minutes on, but I'm Michelle. Will you just give me a little note if you can hear me or see me, just so I know. It's like I'm ripping off the Band-Aid on Facebook Live. There's some people on here, so that's exciting. Let me know if you can't hear me or if there's any concerns, because in a second, I'm not gonna be able to see what's going on. But cool. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. It's kind of weird, right? Because I'm kind of talking to myself for a sec. As you guys jump on, if you have any household accessories, a block or a cookbook, or a dictionary works really well. And then these are just optional, so you totally don't need to use them. If you got a stretchy band or a strap or a belt, that works awesome too. And again, just optional. Once we start using them, I'll tell you if you want to use them, but you don't have to. We do have some people on Hi Friends. But yeah, it's kind of been a bizarre Sunday, right? I was like, my cooking skills have gotten really, well, my husband, who are we kidding? My husband's cooking skills have gotten great. I have reaped the benefits of eating his food and watching him cook. But, I'll maybe cook tomorrow. But cool. So while we wait for a couple other people to join on, if you just joined on, if you have anything that kind of looks like this stuff, we're grabbing it. So a block or a book, and a strap or a belt works really well. But we'll do a little bit of breath work to start this class. And then just kind of some slow, gentle stretches that you can do in your living room, or if you've cleared out some space in your room, or even, on your bed. That sounds really nice too. You could totally do that as well. But I guess we'll get this show on the road. So again, if you're just joining, an accessory like a block or a book works awesome. And then an accessory like a strap or a belt works awesome. Cool. And then just want to make sure you can see my mat. Sounds good. Okay. Awesome. So we're going to get started with a little breath technique. I'm just setting my strap off to the side. So when you join in, we're going to start lying on our backs. If you do have something to prop your hips up, like a block, a book, a pillow works really awesome for this as well. I will meet you lying on your back. And we're just kind of using this block or anything to kind of elevate your hips. And once you've done this, take a moment here. And I just want you to feel the back of your body get really heavy into the ground. And for you, those of you that are just joining, if you don't have anything under your hips, not a big deal at all. But we'll start lying down. Our knees are bent. The soles of our feet are on the ground. And take a moment here and just kind of tune into the sensation of your natural breath. Just notice what it feels like to breathe in your body. And then the fact that if you have chosen to prop your hips up, that your hips are a little higher than your heart, which is a little higher than your head, is a really simple way to tap into your relaxation response. It's a really simple way to tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is just the part of your body that kind of tells everything to chill out, says, hey, we're okay. So this is just kind of a nice thing to do on its own. And next, you're gonna grab your thumbs and then press them in towards any of your fingers. For me, I'm just taking my middle finger. And you're going to take your hands alongside your body so that your upper shoulders are able to get heavy and the back of your skull is able to get really heavy down into the ground. And take another moment, right? Just start to slow the body down as we just start this class with some simple breath work. Something can be under your hips, but it doesn't have to. And as you start to find quietness and stillness, might you notice this really subtle sensation of your heartbeat And maybe you can feel that with a simple touch of your fingertips. And we're going to start our breath patterning, kind of tuning into our heartbeat. So when you're ready, can you breathe for a count of 4 heartbeats on the inhale? And hold for 4 heartbeats. Exhale for 6 heartbeats. And hold for 4 heartbeats. So again, that's an inhale for 4 heartbeats. A hold for 4 heartbeats. Exhale a little longer as you're exhaling for 6 heartbeats. And hold for 4 heartbeats. And now if it doesn't feel good to hold your breath, or it doesn't feel appropriate in your body, you don't have to hold your breath. But we're kind of just looking for that lengthier exhale, which is another really simple way to relieve stress, to tap into your parasympathetic nervous system by lengthening your exhale out. So move through a few of these, knowing that you can always do a couple more, right, if it feels good in your body. But I'll move you through 2 more together, and then we'll start to add some movement here. Count of 4 heartbeats. And hold for 4. And exhale for 6 heartbeats. And hold for 4. Last set here, my friends. 4 on the inhale. And hold for 4. Exhale for 6. And hold for 4. Release your fingertips, allow your breath to regulate. Let it come back to that natural state of breath. And then if it feels comfortable, you're going to keep whatever prop you have under your hips. If you don't love it, ditch it. And if you didn't have a prop in the first place, that's cool. You're going to extend your left leg long, so you'll probably won't be able to see it onto the camera, but I'm just extending my left leg long so that my heel can press down into the ground. And I'm bringing my right knee in towards my chest. The weight of my hands is compressing my shin and my thigh in towards my body, but I'm still allowing for my chest and my head to relax and stay really heavy. Take a big inhale breath here. And an exhale, just let it go. Do 1 more. And let it go. And then just switch sides. So the fact that if you are still elevated on a prop, allows for that long leg to go into extension. So you're getting a little bit of openness that's sometimes really hard to get if we're lying on the ground. And it's really nice if you find that you're spending a lot of time these days, maybe sitting, or just in different shapes than you are normally. 1 more big breath. And let it go. Plant both feet. You can ditch your prop for now. Allow your hips to get really heavy. Okay, just making sure you guys can still see me. My knees are bent, so they're pointing up towards the ceiling, and my feet are really heavy. You're gonna bring your arms alongside your body. I have really long arms. So my fingertips kind of graze towards my heels, but they don't have to. You're just kind of looking for your heels to be about the width of your hips, and that your shoulders melt away from your neck, and that your arms are able to kind of press and root into the mat for a moment. And then we're gonna move into kind of like a wavy type of bridge. So your inhale breath is gonna start to lift your pelvis up off of the ground, followed by your low back, your mid back, the tips of your shoulders, and then reach your arms up overhead. That's all a big inhale breath. And then like an ocean wave, as you exhale, it's the back of the heart that melts down, the mid back, the low back, the hips and the arms. And we'll move through a couple of these. So pelvis starts to unwind the spine all the way up to the tips of your shoulders. Arms follow suit. And exhale, melt everything on down. So these bridge lifts kind of allow your spine to recalibrate as your arms reach up and overhead in, good alignment. You're looking for your knees to reach up and forward so that your inner thighs are engaged. And then as you add this momentum with your arms as they wave up and overhead, you're sending a little bit more breath to the backs of your shoulders. Last one here, friends. And exhale, melt everything on down. Cool. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug, and then you get to decide on how much compression, right? If it feels okay in your spine to lift up your head, neck, and shoulders, awesome. If that doesn't feel great, you can just lift your knees in towards your chest, and I just want you to give yourself just a couple rocks. It can be side to side, it can be forward and back. You give yourself a moment, right? We're sending a little bit of feedback into the back of our body. And then you'll come back to center. You're gonna lower your head, neck, and shoulders. Your arms are reaching out into a T. Be conscious of your accessories. And then really kind of plant your hands down into the ground. So I'm pressing my palms, in case you can't see, down into the ground. And I'm gonna lower my knees towards my left, so towards the camera. And if they can come to the ground, awesome. If they can't, grab something to support them, right? So they can rest on that block. You can put a pillow in between, but find somewhere where they can find a little bit of surface area and feel really supported here. And you're reaching kind of like you're like creating more wingspan and broadness. You're reaching your arms away from center and letting them get really heavy into the ground as your opposite shoulder also tries to melt down towards the ground. Don't stress out too much if it can't. And take a big breath in here. And let it go. For this first one, see if you can feel that top hip really melt and lengthen away from your waistline. Right, twists are really good to decompress your low back and your low spine. And then like really lazy, like think like sloth-like. Find your way back to center. And then let gravity kick in as your legs drape over to the other side. Make any adjustments that you need to. Reach your arms away from center like wings as they press into the ground. Feel your top hip get really long as your chest melts down and you feel a little bit of decompression in this part of your low back. And then your gaze will just kind of be whatever feels comfortable. So if your neck wants to turn in one direction, it can, but I'll let you kind of choose. And then the effort of a sloth brings yourself back to center. We're gonna do one more. Move our arms on this one. So the next time that your knees lower to the left, pause here. Be cautious if you have accessories. And then your opposite hand, so my knees have lowered down to the left, so this is my right hand, is gonna start to just kind of move around. So, should have thought this through a little bit more. But kind of like a snow angel, right? If you were in Big Bear right now, or if you were in the snow making an angel, you're kind of sweeping your arm from side to side. It can bend, it can extend, it could graze the ground. Sometimes I like to make little circles here so that as you find length through your spine, you're also kind of opening up and mobilizing your shoulder. And then start to switch directions if you haven't already. Cool. That arm is going to make its way back into a T. Laziest sloth ever. Oof. Brings your legs back to center. And then they'll find their way down to the opposite side. And take a moment here, right? Get really rooted and situated. And then, like snow angels, or sand angels, I guess. We are in San Diego. So not only are we getting this kind of release in your low back, but this kind of low back sacrum area is where your thoracolumbar fascia feeds in. So it's kind of this thick sheet of fascia that connects from both right and left upper shoulder and feeds all the way down into kind of where your waistband is. So simply by stretching and moving the low back might unravel lots of tension in the rest of your body. Make your way back into that T. Find yourself back into your starting position. And then from here, you're gonna take your left leg once again nice and long. It reaches back down into the ground. And then this time your arms can stay in a T, or they can kind of make their way down towards your body. We're just gonna use them for a little bit of support here. So you'll kind of decide once we move. And we're just gonna take pretty subtle circles. So my knee is kind of bent, but my foot is pretty darn relaxed. And then just start to take some circles, start really big, like you're stirring a pot. And then let the circles start to get a little smaller every time. And then start to switch directions. So now you're stirring that pot counterclockwise, all the while maintaining stability in your hips. Your abdominals are working a little bit to support this. And then do one more round, all right? And you could totally try it with a long leg here if you wanted to. And then switch directions. So think of this as like a massage, right? A massage for your hip socket as it moves in lots of different directions. And then bring that knee in towards your chest. And then with your hand on your shin, take a couple circles here and see if maybe the movement feels different, if it's supported. And then you'll just switch sides when you're ready. So right leg goes long. Left leg starts bent. And then your arms are gonna start supporting themselves, right? And you're just start with a little stirring of the pot, biggest circle to start. And it gets a little smaller. And a little smaller. For those of you that are joining in, we are using two accessories. Switch directions. So we're using a block or a yoga block or a book, and then like a strap or a stretchy band or a belt. We're probably going to use that next, so be aware if it's not nearby and you want to use it. A little optional though. I've switched directions. And then last set. If it felt okay to reach that leg long, feel free to. Try a couple circles in this direction. Right, so if your hip is like I like to think of it as like a bowl, like a guacamole bowl. And then your femur bone is like making your guacamole, right? So it's kind of this massaging circular motion around the hip. Right, am I the only one that just really likes food metaphors? If you talk about food, I'm like, oh, I got it. Awesome. And bring that knee in towards the chest and maybe just try a few waves with the pressure of your shin and see if maybe that feels different and interesting. Cool. Both knees come in towards your chest. Take another rock from side to side. Find if you are going to use a strap or a belt or something, go ahead and grab that now. And then for the sake of consistency, we're all going to press and root our left foot into the ground. And then you're going to take your accessory, should you choose to choose it, onto the sole of your foot. And if you don't have an accessory, that's okay. You can just hold onto your shin. If you can hold onto your foot, awesome. And I'm kind of looking for is a opening in the back of the leg. And I find that me personally, sometimes it gets into my shin a lot. So accessory or just your hands. If you have an accessory, it's coming closer to your heel than it is to the ball of your foot. And my upper body is really relaxed, right? So in an effort to reach my leg up, I haven't gotten really tense. Everything is still really subtle. And I'm reaching my leg up out of my hip up towards the ceiling. And I'm just gonna start to point and flex. So we're finding a little bit of mobility into your ankle joint. Reaching the back of my thigh back away from my body, back away from my tailbone as my thigh reaches out through my hamstring. And then I want you to take a couple ankle circles here. Yeah. And switch directions. Cool. Find your way back to a nice flexed foot. If your left leg, so your opposite leg, if it's still bent, if it feels okay to straighten that leg, please do so. If it doesn't feel okay, it can stay nice and bent. Your strap is going to come into your right hand so that your right leg opens out towards the right side of the room. I'm taking my left hand onto my hip to stabilize. And it's nice, right, if you have a wall to press your foot into, you've already kind of created a little bit more security. If not, then you've got your hand and maybe a strap or your hand supporting your leg. And see if you can really reach that foot into the strap, whether it's into a wall or just pressing it into an imaginary wall, trying to reach out through the hip. Send some breath to both hips as they get really heavy into the ground. And then your other leg, your left leg, see if you can start to reach it down and away from the body, as if that long leg that was just hanging out was trying to reach through like a window or through a wall. You're trying to reach really long in opposition away through your left leg and reach opposition out and away through your right leg so that your upper inner thigh starts to turn on a lot. Take one more big breath here. And then think of your sloth. That leg slowly comes back to center. You're gonna switch grips. So now the strap comes into your left hand or maybe your foot. Your leg is now held by your left hand. Your right arm can just kind of reach out and over and away from you. And you're crossing that leg over your body. You're gonna cross the leg over your body so much that you actually come onto the side of your hip. So my long leg, my opposite leg, I'm on the knife edge of that leg and I'm on the whole side of my body. My other arm can kind of do whatever. And then this foot, if it's within your range for that foot to come down onto the ground, awesome. It doesn't need to because we're still supporting it with this strap. And then you might actually use your hands. Sometimes I like to do this, or if you have someone in your house that maybe you can use as an assist, to really start to press your top hip away from your waistline. So I'm trying to press my top hip down towards my opposite leg and feeling this sensation of length into my waistline. And then that arm can reach back and I find some openness and a little bit of a twist. Right, super, super nice for the side of our hips. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've been seeing a lot more people take up running or walking lately. Or maybe, you guys are working out with us a lot more online, and so you're finding that you're sore in really weird places. I never get sore in my outer hips, and like this past week, I've been dying. So this has been really, really helping me. Take one more big breath here. And then really slowly bring yourself back to center. Scoot back if you've kind of lost your center. And then you're gonna take your opposite leg. So for me now, it's my left leg. My right knee comes so that it's nice and my right sole of the foot is on the ground. And then the strap, if you're using it, or your belt, comes closer to the heel than to the ball of the foot so that you can really reach out of the hip. So as opposed to me trying to reach my toes towards my face and tightening up here and activating my quad, I'm really trying to lengthen my quad or my thigh bone back towards my hamstring and imagine that whole leg was reaching all the way down and away from me. And I get a little bit more activity through the heel that way. And my ankle, right, is able to really kind of line up with my femur or my hip socket. Take a moment here, right? Everything in my upper body is super relaxed. And then just start to point and flex. Right, notice if it's different. You're human. One side might totally be different than the other. Remember to breathe. And then start to find some ankle circles. One direction. And then the other. Lots of cracks for me today. Cool. And then that leg comes back to center. It's nice and flexed. Your opposite leg, your right leg rather, is gonna reach nice and long. That leg is super active. So imagine that that long leg already was reaching all the way down and away from you, as if it was trying to press itself into a wall. And then your left leg strap is in your left hand, and that's gonna reach out towards the left. Right, if you've got a wall, awesome. If not, you're supporting yourself either with your arm or with the strap. My opposite hand, my right hand, is really pressing into my hip to keep it really heavy and keep that leg really active, so that my upper inner thigh, right where the seam of my pants is, really turns on as I feel this stretch through my inner thighs. Take 2 big breaths. And then think sloth. Really slowly bring yourself back to center. Strap comes into your right hand, so the opposite hand. You're gonna start to cross your left leg over your body. So much so that you're now coming all the way onto the side of your hip. You're reaching that foot all the way away from you, and then maybe you grab someone in your house, or you use your hand as an assist. Your top hip now, you're trying to press it away from the waistline. And maybe that means that your bottom hip lifts up towards your waistline a little bit, if that makes sense. The top hip lengthens down, so I get a little bit of space in the waist. And then I reach and expand through my chest. I'm gonna take one more big breath here. And then really slowly, bring yourself back to center. Both legs are gonna go into that strap. Again, or both feet just reach up towards the ceiling. And then allow them just to get a little wider than hips distance. And you're just gonna point and flex those feet just a couple times. All right, they can be a little closer together if that feels comfortable. That doesn't matter too much, but point, then flex. Cool. Remove one leg from the strap, and then remove the other leg from the strap. Digit. And then we're gonna move into like, if you've done yoga before, you're probably familiar with Happy Baby. This is a half Happy Baby, which is like my favorite thing on earth. So I'm gonna do it, I'll do it facing this direction so you guys can see what's going on, because we'll do a couple moves. And then I'll pivot to the other direction, so in case you feel like you're a little confused, you can still know what's going on. So we'll all start with our left leg, and you're gonna find a half Happy Baby. So your left arm is reaching for the inside of your left shin, and so that my left elbow is to the inside of my knee. So if you could imagine that your left foot was in an upside down squat, my foot is flexed up towards the ceiling and my knee is bent to the outside of my shoulder. So I'm kind of creating this half opposite upside down squat type of thing. And then my other leg is just kind of hanging out. It's not really part of the party, and it'll just kind of chill and relax. And then my other hand, for now, you can just kind of take it onto your other hip or down onto the ground, so it's just out of the way. And when you're ready, in your half Happy Baby on your left side, you're just gonna start to take a couple rocks. So if you can see this, I'm rocking my left shin, or left thigh rather, down towards the ground, and then my right hip has to lift up a little bit. So there's kind of this tilt, right? So that my left thigh can touch the ground, I have to lift up my right hip, and that's okay. Yeah, take a couple breaths. Cool. You can continue, I'm just moving some accessories out of the way. You can continue to do this if this feels appropriate and okay in your body. If you're like, Michelle, I got this, what is next? The next time that your left shin taps down towards the ground, you're just gonna straighten your left leg, right? So I've straightened my leg, so maybe my toes tap the ground. I bend the knee and rock back to my starting position. So I'm just kind of using the momentum of my hips to tap and straighten my leg and bend and come back. And I'm gonna show you the last layer of this before I pivot. So again, if you're a little confused, you'll be able to see what's going on the other leg. Cool, my most favorite part. So the next time that you rock to the left, you're gonna straighten your left leg, bend, come back to your starting position, cross that leg over your body, and then maybe it just reaches across the body. So we've done a bunch of this stuff with the straps, and now we're just gonna layer it on. I'm gonna pivot so you guys can see what's going on. Hi guys. Cool, so keep moving, but I'm just pivoting so you can see what's going on. Your half happy baby, right? Left leg has bent. And it goes straight. Left leg bends and it crosses over your body. Cool. Yeah. So can you ask your hips to move in a heck of a lot of different directions if they're feeling super sticky or sore because you've been taking a bunch of classes? Okay, last one. All right, friends. Make your way back to center and then we'll just switch. So your left leg finds its way into your half happy baby. Did I say left? Right. And your right hand comes to the inside of your shin. All right, so if you can see me like this, my elbow's to the inside of my leg. So my knee is in this upside down squat. And the first part of it is just that little rock, right? I just kind of rock over to the side. Feeling that my opposite hip tilts up a little bit. This rocking momentum also is a really nice way to kind of soothe the back of your body. Cool. And then the next time that you rock, maybe that right leg straightens, it bends, and it comes back to that starting position. So you get a little bit of openness into your tight hamstrings without putting a lot of pressure on them just yet. Yeah, and then if you haven't already and you want to add that little crossover, you cross that leg over and then it comes back. Cool. We'll do a couple of these. We're going to eventually be moving off of our backs, but I want to make sure that you guys feel really even in your hips and open. So do a couple of those. I'm just going to grab a quick sip of water. Make sure nobody wrote anything. Cool, friends. Let's do one more. Okay, so I'll do this together. Last one, right thigh, right leg goes straight. This time when you cross your right leg over your body, I'll meet you there. So you're kind of lying on your side, kind of awkwardly. It's okay. You're gonna rotate so that you end up on your belly. It's not gonna be graceful, not a big deal. And I'll meet you kind of lying on your belly with your hands just resting underneath your head and your legs are long. Let them just kind of be relaxed and kind of wide for a moment here. And then when you're ready, you're going to take your hands underneath your shoulders and then lazy, right? So think of like really, really little effort. I've tucked my toes. My knees are going to stay bent on the ground. And I'm just using my arm bones to lift me up and shift my body back into a child's pose. I'm going to scoot forward so you guys can see what's going on. And just take a moment here. We're going to move through. I kind of like to think of these as like slithering like a snake. But we'll start here in this child's pose. And then from your child's pose, with your hands reaching in front of you, start to sweep the hands close to the body so you come up into a seating position. Take a big exhale breath. Inhale as your arms sweep behind you so that your chest opens. And then take another exhale breath, arms sweep forward, and then use your arm bones really lazily to slither onto your chest. Think of like a snake. Take an inhale breath, chest lifts up. You kind of come into like a pseudo cobra type of pose. Exhale, lower down, and just push yourself back into a child's pose. So we'll do a couple of those. They don't have to be pretty. They don't have to be perfect. But we're just gonna move the spine really lazily. So when you're ready, you'll use your hands. You'll take a big exhale breath as they sweep alongside your body. Taking an inhale breath as the chest and the arms reach back behind you. Exhale breath, arms reach forward. Slither onto your belly. Take an inhale breath, cobra. Take an exhale breath, come back to a child's pose. Exhale, sweep. Inhale, open. Exhale, sweep. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Last one here, friends. Sweep open. Take a big inhale. Exhale, lazily slither forward. Inhale, open up the chest. And exhale, shift the hips back. We'll meet in a child's pose. Hang out here for a couple moments. Let the back of your body get really heavy. I'm just gonna grab a little sip of water. Right, if a child's pose doesn't feel great in your body, and there's something that does instead, you can absolutely always do that. But let this just be kind of a moment to really kind of decompress, right? To feel your heart rate start to regulate. All right, here, friends. When you're ready, you're gonna slither back onto your back, or onto your belly rather, sorry. I'll meet you there. And then let your legs just kind of relax so they're about hips distance apart. Sorry, my room is so small. And you can either be on your elbows or you can lower onto your chest. Once you see what's going on, you can decide what feels better. Before we get into some deep hip openers, I just wanna open up and twist your hips a little bit. So when you're ready, you're gonna bend your right knee and just lift your thigh up off of the ground. So again, I'm kind of in that opposite like shelf that I'm kind of creating with my spine. And then I'm just gonna start to rotate my right hip so that my right hip stacks on top of the left, and I'm reaching it across the body, coming into this reverse twist. And if it can reach all the way down towards the ground, awesome. And then at this point, you can extend your arms long and just take a moment here, opening up and feeling this twist happen from the back side of the body. And then we'll switch sides. Right, so if you liked it on your forearms, stay there. If not, arms can go long. So left thigh lifts up. You're gonna start to rotate and stack that left thigh on top of the other. And maybe your arms go long. And take a breath. Cool. Slowly bring yourself back. When you're ready, you're gonna take your hands under your chest. Find your way to hands and knees. And you're gonna do a downward facing dog or like a pike. So your hips shift back and just take a moment here to pedal out the feet. We're gonna be moving into some deep hip openers from here. So when you're ready, the right leg, musculo forward. The right leg reaches back, so we in yoga language call this three-legged dog. Bend that right knee so that it points towards the right, so you've stacked the hips, kind of like we just did. And just take a couple circles here to start. And then switch directions. Your hips should hopefully be super lubricated and hydrated. That leg reaches back. You're gonna step that leg forward. And then lower your back knee down to the ground. And if this doesn't feel good cushion-wise, then you can always fold up your mat or place like a pillow or something underneath it. Your back toes are long, and just come up to your shin if this feels okay. And you'll take your hands onto your right thigh. And we're gonna move our arms a little bit and open up the front of our hip and then the back of our hip. But know that if that doesn't feel great, you can always hang out just right here. Take a big inhale, arm bones reach up and overhead. You're dropping your right arm towards the right and reaching up and out through the left. So you're opening up the left side of the body a lot. Back off if it feels crazy. Take a big inhale, make your way back to center, and then just take a little rotation. So now you're thinking of wingspan. You're trying to reach your arms. And then take your hands back down to the ground in front of you. And then you're gonna slowly start to straighten your front leg. And you can negotiate with it a little bit, right? You can always walk it forward. And then lift your toes to face your face and feel that opening through the back of the leg. Take 2 big breaths here. And then we're just gonna kind of move through that lunge and this half split. So take an inhale breath, bend your front knee a lot, open up the left hip, and then your next breath straightens that front leg. Inhale breath to open. Exhale breath to shift back. Let's do one more. Big inhale breath. And exhale breath. This time with those front toes lifted towards your face, if that feels okay, stay there. If you want to level this business up a little bit, walk your hands to the outside of that foot, so you're in this subtle rotation, and then see if you can actively ask your front hip, your right hip to lengthen back, and that should really get into the back of the knee. Oh my God, a lot. Take one more big breath. Slowly walk it back in. I'm gonna pivot to face you so you can see what's going on. You're still in that half split. Bend your front knee a lot. You're walking your hands to the inside of the foot and you're pivoting your foot open. So it's framing to the outside. And then allow that knee to kind of open up out towards the side of the room. I like to kind of pivot and bring the sole of my foot with it. I'll let you determine what feels good in your hip. And take a few moments here, right? So in this lizard pose, you can hang out here. If it's within your range to come onto your forearms, you can always do that. Or you can bring a block or a book so that the ground comes closer to you. And let the back of your body get really heavy down into the ground. So we'll spend about 5 breaths here, knowing that you can always back off if this starts to feel super crazy. It will definitely feel intense, but we're not looking for anything that feels like painful or stingy or anything like that. Take 2 more big breaths. Slowly ditch any accessories that you have. You're gonna walk your foot back to the center of your body, plant your hands. You're gonna tuck your back toes and lift your front foot. Find that 3-legged dog. And then that foot comes back down, pedal out your feet. And then I'll meet you with the right or the left leg rather forward. Yeah, in this lunge. Cool. So take a moment here, right? We'll move our arms a little bit in this variation. So get really comfortable and adjust as necessary. Take a big inhale, arm bones reach up and overhead. Your left hand comes up and you're gonna reach up and over through your right hand. So you're opening up not only the front of that right hip, but the right side body a lot. Right, I have monster long arms, so they can reach toward the ground, but they probably won't, that's okay. Find your way back to center, and then rotate towards your front leg, imagining that your arms are like wings reaching from side to side. And then cartwheel your hands over the front, and we're gonna start to move the front leg back, reaching the front toes towards your face. Take an inhale breath. Feel that thigh lengthen back towards your hamstring, just like we did with the strap. And then we'll move through a couple of these. Right, take a big breath as that knee bends a lot. Take another big breath as that front leg straightens a lot. Last one, friends. Cool. The next time that you open that front leg, stay there, lift those toes towards your face. And then if it feels okay in your body, maybe you walk your hands to the outside of that front leg, so towards the left, and you feel that front hip lengthen away a lot. I don't know about you, but this is like super crazy intense. And then walk your hands back to center, bend that front knee a lot. That foot's gonna heel toe to the outside of your shoulder and your hands plant to the inside for your lizard. And then you get to decide, right? If it felt good to open that knee and bring the foot with it, feel free to do that or adjust as necessary. And then you can always grab your prop to bring the ground a little closer to you. But take a couple moments here, right? Feel it out. Right, that's the nice thing about working out at home, right, is that you can take time, right? And you can go a little rogue if you want and do something else that feels really good, right? You might spend a whole nother moment here, but we'll take like 2 more big breaths. All right, friends, when you're ready to come out of it, ditch your block if you've got it. You're gonna heel toe that foot back under you. Root your hands and flex your back leg. Go 3-legged dog, so front leg reaches back. And then front leg comes down, so both feet are in that downward facing dog. And I'll meet you on your hands and knees. You're gonna come to a nice seated position. I got one more move for you before we end with a little relaxation. So reach your feet in front of you. Again, if this doesn't feel great or if it's really hard to sit up nice and tall, you can always sit on top of something if you feel like it's really hard for your back to sit up, right? Or you can bend your knees a lot. That's okay too. Flex your feet. Sit up really tall. Take a big inhale. Arm bones reach up and overhead. And then exhale, reach forward as if someone was pulling your heart forward. And then let it go, get really heavy down into the ground. And if your hands don't touch your feet, not a big deal. Take another inhale from your heart, from your sternum, lift up, and reach farther forward. And then let it go. If you want a little more, imagine that your thigh bones are really pressing down into the ground, almost so much that you could start to lift your heels and make them a little lighter. If you just want to hang out, maybe you soften your knees a little more and just hang heavy and let gravity do its thing. But we'll take about 3 more breaths before we come onto our backs. And slowly start to walk yourself on up. Cool, friends. So we're gonna come to lying on our backs, and then we'll end with just a little guided meditation, kind of similar to Shavasana. Know that if that doesn't feel great in your body, and there's something else that you'd rather do, you can always take these moments to do that instead. But when you're ready, I'll meet you lying down. Cool. So I'll let you kind of choose this shape that feels good. If it feels okay to come to lie on your back, your knees can be bent or they can be long. It might feel better for you to kind of lay in a fetal position or on your belly. Totally do that too. Or if your house is a little cold like mine and you want to grab a blanket and get really cozy, you can do that as well. But find a shape that lets you tap back into kind of that sensation of stillness. And once you've wiggled around until you can't wiggle anymore, see if you can come back to your natural state of breath. And for these last few moments of class, maybe you can connect back to that sensation of your heartbeat. Feeling the vibration of your heart as it thumps inside of your body. Maybe you can tune into the sensation of your heart pumping blood and how that blood circulates throughout your body. Feeling this sensation of ease, of soothe, of calmness begin to wash over you. And ever so subtly, you start to listen for the sound of the air just above your face. You feel the sensation of that air as it touches your cheeks and your nose and your lips. And you listen for the sensation and the sound of life happening all around you. And maybe you start to add a little wiggle of your fingertips or a wiggle of your toes. And when you're ready, I'll meet you in a nice seated position and we'll just end with a closing breath. Getting really lazy as you find your way into your seated position. Take a big inhale, get really broad with your arms. And exhale, just push all that great energy we've created back down into the earth. Thanks for relaxing with me, friends. Let me know in the comments how you loved it or what you want to see next week. I'm happy to take suggestions. And then I'm also teaching tomorrow morning. We'll teach a spice class at 9 a.m. So if you also have some maybe butt-kicking stuff that you want to see, leave it in the comments. And I'll see you at 9 a.m. Have a great night's sleep.